Mhm, mhm. Just tell me when we are live.
Yeah, we are live.
We are live?
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think we are live. Okay,
Okay.
so welcome to one more talk of ours, the Materia Medica series live. It's great to see you every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And I think some students are just joining us gradually. We have our usual friends who have joined. Darius from Poland. How are you doing, Darius? And many, many more doctors. Neil, Krupali, Ruchi, Abhijit, Aditya, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Swati, Archie. So yeah, I'm very excited today. Excitement is due to a few reasons. The number one excitement is definitely we have a German guest today with us from Berlin. We have Vaika who's going to share some very very interesting cases. So I'm excited for all of you that you get to learn something very very interesting and innovative from our friend here from Germany. The other thing that I'm very excited about is we are almost less than 24 hours away from launching our first online course on Nosodes and Sarcodes, and we already have more than 350 homeopaths all across the world who have booked your seats, and we have very very few seats remaining more. So if any one of you would be interested, you will have to book your seats very soon. The other thing that I'm very excited about is our the first copy of the book Art of Repertorization, where which I this is the third book which I'm publishing. I just received it yesterday night, and there are some corrections, so I'm correcting it, and I'm very excited because I've spoken about 8 different types of repertory in that, and I've shared many many COVID cases also, and it would be very interesting. I believe this is by far the best literature on repertory which will be available for all students, so I'm very excited for working on it, refining it, and hopefully some of you will read it, and hopefully some of the people who read will apply it as well. So I think we already have almost roughly 100 doctors who have joined us, and I'm just sharing the screen, Pratik. Okay, screen दिख रहा है? Can you hear my screen, Pratik?
Yes.
You can.
Yes.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope some of you have gone through the case that I've sent you. We have two cases today. One case I have sent you, and one case is with my friend Vaika. And both of the cases, as you see, are there on the website. And I hope some of you must have found some time to solve it. These are very simple cases, but very interesting. And let us see how it goes. Okay, so let's start from the first case for today. So this is a case of learning disability. 15-year-old boy. He had come to see us in our setup in Mumbai in our clinic. His main problem is that he doesn't understand things properly. He fails in all his examination. He forgets everything. If he's asked to write something, he writes in a very wrong way. He remains very absent-minded. Sometimes trembles. Sometimes remains very uneasy. Even easy calculations like 10 rupees, 20 rupees, he finds it very very difficult to calculate. His feet are very, very restless when I observed him first time. Um, this case is long, but I have just shortened the case. I have shortened the case so that I've just put up the important notes, um, so that I can share a little bit about the remedy a little later. He has a very strange habit, and this most of the history is given by the mother. It's a very strange habit of laughing very loudly, suddenly, um, in school, and he remains very confused. He has a habit of, if he's asked to write 24, he'll write 42. Okay, so this is some of his complaints. He's very, very emaciated. His face is very lean, wheatish complexion. He's very tall though. The one thing about him is very, very tall, and they are seeing these kind of changes since almost last 5 years. He just doesn't grab things easily. He doesn't pick up things easily. He's just very, very slow. Some people call him dumb, stupid, and different pediatricians have diagnosed him. One pediatrician diagnosed him ADHD. Another is saying he's in the spectrum. So different pediatricians are diagnosing it different ways. So they are very confused, and they didn't want to start allopathy treatment, and that's why they have come to homeopathic treatment, more or less. So the idea in these type of cases is that this is most of these symptoms are very common in almost all learning disability patients. So like in every case, we have to understand the deeper patterns. We have to understand what is the deepest state, the state of mind of a person. So in especially in pediatric cases, and a large part of my practice is mainly pathological cases, where I see mainly hormonal cases, polycystic ovarian disease, thyroid disorders, even cancer cases, autoimmune cases. In my practice, pediatric cases are lesser, but still there are certain cases which I see in our practice. So the most important thing I do in pediatric cases is I give a lot of importance to observations. I don't give too much of importance to what the parents say all the time. I give importance to it, but I give more importance to the observation, what I am observing in front of me. Hmm. So the thing that I observed when I was talking to the mother was he was almost, looking here and looking there, and his feet were very, very restless, constantly restless feet, and even hands were slightly trembling. So the father says that his son, our patient, he stays alone and he goes into imaginary worlds, is in his own world, remains very, very absent minded, and feels as if very, very detached from the world. This is a very typical state in him. And very often, sometime when he's told to study, he gets very angry. And when he gets very, very angry, he can throw things, he can hit people, he can throw things, and suddenly hit people, smash things down, throw books. This is a very strange thing in him. Although the parents say that he's emotionally very weak, and even on TV, if he sees something emotional, he starts crying very easily. This is something about him. He loves traveling a lot, and his favorite thing to do is just he will just ask his parents that let us go out, and he will sit in the car and just go. That's his favorite thing in the world to do, traveling. If someone teases him, he gets angry, and teasing is something is very sensitive to. And if someone teases him, he get so angry he can just beat up people. He says that he always fails in exams and he feels bad about it, so he takes a lot of help from friends, and he's unable to understand question answers, so he has to write the same thing again and again and again and again. So he has kind of developed a habit of repeating things. He will ask many things, he will repeat many things. So one of the things I want to tell you is, there is a rubric in repertory repeats things, and there is medorinum and zincum in that. Don't take this rubric in these type of cases because it's a very common feature in these cases. He trusts people very easily, and every time he puts efforts to talk to his friends, he kind of he tries to make friends, but he's unable to make friends, more or less. He's introvert by nature, and especially previously he used to be very happy, but now he's forgetting about past a lot. That is about him. Then strangely he talks about his dreams, and I asked him, do you remember the dreams? And he says, yes, I remember. I said, what dreams do you get? He said, I get dreams of ghosts. Okay, what do you feel? He says, I don't know, I am in a closed dark room. And what do you feel there? I asked him. I said, I kind of feel fear in my chest. So I asked him, can you describe more? He says, I don't know. And I asked him, can you tell a little bit more about this? And he says that I get one main feeling in the dream is as if I'm lost. I'm somewhere, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I'm just lost. I don't know where I am. I feel like that all the time. Sometimes in the middle of the room, middle of the day, I'm just standing and I'm like, I'm lost. What am I doing? Where am I doing? This is me, he says. He needs the light on while sleeping. This is about him as well. He has an extreme craving for chicken and meat, and his thirst has increased. He sweats a lot. He sweats on his head, and he's a hot patient, sometimes constipated. Typically, his feet are very, very restless, something that we observed. When he gets up in the morning, he feels very, very unrefreshed. He sleeps on his abdomen, typically, sometimes. There's a lot of fear of dogs, he feels, and he can run behind because he feels very scared that dogs will bite him. So, somewhere he's scared of dogs, typically. Past history, we don't know, but he suddenly had developed unconsciousness in between few years back, and he also had a history of appendix, which was operated. When I asked about pregnancy history, they didn't have any details much. So this is more or less the case that we have at this moment. So how do we solve this? It's a case shortened case. It took me about an hour to take this case, and the case history is slightly longer. But I've put up the most important things in the case for you, so that we can think together. And maybe for a lot of doctors who have joined right now, I will just briefly go through the case again for you, so you can tell me. So it's a case of a 15-year-old boy with learning disabilities, a lot of forgetfulness, and he remains very absent-minded with trembling, uneasiness, cannot remember things, forget things very easily, and this is happening since 5 years. He stays alone and remains very detached from everything. He can get very, very angry and suddenly throw things at times. Emotionally very weak. If he sees something emotional, he can feel like crying. He loves traveling, and delayed speech is a very strong thing in him. He gets very emotional and he can cry and get angry. He trusts people easily. He wants to make friends. More of an introvert, he cannot communicate so easily. Dreams of ghosts, and at a deeper level feels as if lost. A lot of craving for chicken and meat. Feet are restless, constipated, and a lot of thirst. When he gets up, feels totally unrefreshed in the morning, and passes to unconsciousness, so on. So, how do we analyze this case? Dr. Pratik, can you see my repertory?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, how do I analyze this case? Some doctors have written it could be tuberculinum and medurinum. Okay, no problem. So, I want to show you step by step how I analyze these cases, because you have to understand I have a very um, busy OPD in my Bombay clinic, where I have to see sometimes 50, 60 patients in a day, and I hardly get 20, 25 minutes per case, and it's a very difficult kind of a time slot. So we have devised a way where in a very artistic way, we can analyze the case and find the exact remedy. So the first rubric I found for him was that the speech is delayed, and that's one of the main things to take is what you can say, development arrested. So arrested development would be a very important thing. So somewhere his development is not happening. There's a lot of slowness in understanding in speech. The second important thing in his case, which is very strange for him, is a lot of craving, extreme craving for chicken. So you can see the next rubric I took, craving for meat. You must be seeing I'm taking the generalities of the rubric case more. The next very peculiar thing that I took was that the sleep is very unrefreshing, especially when he gets up in the morning. He feels more unrefreshed than he gets up when he sleeps at night. The other very, very peculiar thing that you now also can see in his case, he really loves traveling a lot, isn't it? And the position he likes to take is in the sleep is especially typically on the abdomen. Okay. What else can you tell me about his case? Yes. So one of the other very important thing was his feet were very restless, if you remember. So just I'm showing you step by step how to take rubrics. This is a whole art. So now when you look at the rubrics, you can see how I've taken the rubrics. I've taken the generalities, the cravings, the sleep. So this is especially in children's cases with autism, you have to take the general picture of the case more. So I just put this in rubrics and you can see very nicely the first remedy that comes up very interestingly is magnesium carb. Now, why is this interesting? Because if you look at the main dreams in the case, which dreams I'm taking in the end, okay, the main dream in the case, if you remember, is the dream of ghost, right? The dream of ghosts, yes. And the other very, very peculiar dream that you remember is the dream that he's lost. And this is a very, very important feeling of magnesium, of feeling lost. And this is strongly in magnesium carb. Now, I hope most of you can see all the rubrics step by step. This is how you can be so sure in a case and find the exact remedy that matches all symptoms from head to toe. And when you take the rubrics like this in a so peculiar way, then you know that the remedy will act for sure. And now I want to show you the cherry in the cake. One very interesting rubric that I found a little later. I didn't find this rubric in the first go. I found it later was his very peculiar rubric of absent-minded. Okay. And what is the peculiar thing in absent-mindedness? That in the absent-mindedness, he feels very uneasy and there's a lot of trembling. Have a look. This is what I want you to learn. So there is a very beautiful rubric, absent-minded, uneasy with trembling of hands. And you can see a single remedy, magnesium carb, and it is given by Herring, Constantine Herring, the great homeopath. This is from his proving. So now you know that this is the exact materia medica. I hope some of you can see this. So you can see now, beautiful, the entire rubrics going towards magnesium calm. Isn't it interesting? So in these type of cases, very often I give magnesium carb 0/1 or LM1 daily for next 45 days. You can see this rubric again. Very beautiful rubric. And just yes, and just you can see the follow-up. Just within 45 days, what happened? So there is a remarkable change. He's able to suddenly start concentrating better. He was not even able to read for 10 minutes. Now he's able to study for 2 hours. The hyperactivity has reduced, the reading has improved, remarkable change. The parents are saying we have not seen so much of change in last 5 years that we see in just in 30 days. The irritability has reduced, and he has now developed confidence, and he has started asking doubts to teacher. Can you imagine this guy who was in his own world, and suddenly in 40 days of medicine, he's suddenly asking the doubts to teacher, that teacher, what, why did you ask, why did you take 1 plus 1 is this, or why did you take this formula? He's asking questions to teacher. So it is remarkable for the teachers there to observe the changes in children. And yes, homeopathy has it, um, uh, in these type of cases with developmental delay. I can tell you, nothing else but homeopathy will remarkably change it. And we have seen it in many cases. I've presented many cases to all of you, and you must have seen that. And he's the patient is still under treatment, and I would not call it as he's totally cured, but just my idea to share with you this remedy which I hadn't shared with you. I wanted to share and teach you this remedy. So let's talk a little bit. I have few minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes before I can invite my friend Vaika. I thought I will quickly go through a little bit of drug picture of magnesium carb, the way I see it, the way I see it, and also how we can connect it to the sensation method and the kingdom, etc. Magnesium carb, as you know, and we know it belongs to the mineral kingdom, and it belongs to the periodic table. And in the periodic table, as we know it, there are so many different rows. You can see the row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7. I've spoken about you about how to understand the periodic table in my last lectures, but I will just briefly tell you. So row 1, you can see hydrogen and helium. The idea is more of conception. Do I exist or no? The main feeling hydrogen patient feel, oh, am I being noticed or no? That's the hydrogen. And then you see lithium, beryllium, boron, and the idea here is clinging on to someone, clinging like a child, like clinging, infant like clinging. And then we come to the third row, that is the natrum, magnesium, alumina. And here is where is magnesium. It's like it's a stage of an infant where someone is just requiring nourishment, care, love. Someone is developing identity. Someone is developing communication. It's almost like you are stuck in that phase of an infant. So let me explain you a little bit more about understanding of row 3. The idea also here is, do I have an identity or no? Do I have a choice or no? And that's why in magnesium, very often are people who don't have a very strong choice. There's a feeling they are separate, but they don't know whether they're separate or no. In the idea of magnesium, one of the main thing is he starts developing his sense of individual choice, but the problem is expression. The main problem of magnesium, and now I will explain you the main theme of magnesium, is expressing. Magnesium people find it very difficult to express themselves. In fact, the word which is used by Dr. Sankaran is a repression. Their emotions are repressed, they don't know. The main feeling is that they are totally alone. The main feeling is they are totally alone and forsaken, and that's a very strong feeling of an orphan in magnesium. Magnesium represents the condition of an infant who has just begun to understand, but he's scared of losing or being abandoned. This feeling is typically encountered in orphans, but typically the feeling is of not getting enough care and love and fear of being forsaken. Now I'm going to explain you certain typical features of magnesium with the rubrics and connecting the repertory rubrics, provings, materia medica to the sensation method. Very often, magnesium children are indicated, magnesium remedies indicated in children from autism and ADHD because the feeling is of being forsaken and unloved. Very often, mothers who are pregnant, um, they have a feeling of forsaken feeling during pregnancy, and they develop or have magnesium children. There's a strong feeling that something will happen. So there's a very interesting rubric. Fear something will happen, sad or terrible, all day, but better after going to bed. Here the bed shows the idea of comfort. So there's a constant feeling of something will happen, but they feel much better if there is someone to comfort them. This is magnesium. Lot of anxiety. Magnesium could be a very important remedy for anxiety disorder. Anxiety with sweat all day and long. The other thing that I want to tell you is that magnesium, if you study repertory, and as you know, I've written a book on repertory, especially mind rubrics, where I've explained 8,000 different rubrics. Uh, if you study only dreams of repertory, you will realize that magnesium is there in maximum dreams. What does this show? This shows that magnesium cannot express too much, but what it cannot express, it kind of feels in the subconscious level in their dreams, and that's why many dreams. So there's a dream in magnesium, dreams of calling out. Interesting. Dreams calling out for help. Very often, this is the dream that magnesium carb says. Dreams of their own death, typically for magnesium carb. Dreams of death of parents. Dreams of death of relative, because they are very attached to them. Dreams of lost way home, cannot find her way home. This is a very important dream of magnesium. Dreams, many dreams. Dreams of quarrels. Very often typical, and this is especially for students who are watching my talk right now and they are treating cases. Very often they say, I'm trying to write exam but I cannot finish the exam. I'm trying to catch a train but I'm not able to catch a train. This is typical for magnesium. Dreams, unsuccessful efforts to do various things. So you can see magnesium carb, magnesium mure, magnesium phos, magnesium sulfur. Dreams, unsuccessful efforts to make telephone call but cannot, magnesium carb. So they are trying but unable to. Huh? Very often magnesium carb could be children who are a little bit come close to chamomilla, where chamomilla are crying, but magnesium carb children can whine, and typically you will see their states very obvious. Magnesium carb children you will often find in failure to thrive, especially the infants do not put on weight, they delay muscular development, and that's why in many cases of neuromuscular developmental issues, magnesium carb is indicated. They cannot hold their head up, delay in walking, complexion is pallid yellow, and very often associated with liver. Although liver is affected, think about magnesium muriaticum more. One of my favorite writings in the world is Kent's writing, and as I told you, I eat, drink, sleep, Kent, Boger, Boninghouse, and Dunham, Pulford, and I'm in love with this writings, and it's these writings I have been studying for very often, and beautifully how Kent has written magnesium. He has written, see, so beautifully. I have observed, especially among illegitimate infants that have been conceived by clandestine coition, that they have tendency to sinking in the back of the head. So what had happened, and I'll tell you in a story form, that one day Kent was brought to treat one case of diarrhea in children, in a child. And he saw that this case of diarrhea, he gave podophyllum, he gave many remedy, but the child was not improving. So then he tried to study case more, and then he saw that he was coming from a school of where there are illegitimate children conceived by clandestine coition, which means you can say a kind of um, home where the parents are just um, whatever they are just leaving the children, and they don't want the children anymore. They are the children are born and they just leave them straight away. And he found that everyone had diarrhea there, almost 10-15 people. So Kent thought, what is this? So Kent started studying the case again, and then he found that almost all of them had a sinking. Let me show you the symptom. They all had a sinking in the occiput. Let me show you. Let's see. Sinking. Sinking. Let me show you the exact picture. Sinking in the occiput. Sink. You can see this. Occipital bone sinks in. Can you all see this? You can see it also in Fatak Materia Medica. Sinking occiput in marasmic children. See the exactness, my friends. This is what is homeopathy, pure homeopathy, exact. And that's why the cases results that we are having is amazing, because we do exact homeopathy, no story, exact. So on this basis, he found so many children were having sinking of the occiput, and then he gave magnesium carb to most of them, and their diarrhea improved. And almost 61 children who had this improved. And then from this idea, they came to know that maybe the main feeling of magnesium carb is orphan feeling. So the whole orphan feeling that is written in all materia medicas come from this case of Kent. This is what I want you to learn, how materia medica is developed, how our remedies develop, how our rubrics develop, how our themes develop, how is sensation method develop, how is kingdom develop, how is miasm developed. Learn this. Learn the basics first. Then you have a whole lifetime to do all other things. Step by step. One day I was studying with Dr. Sankaran, and I asked him that how did you develop the sensation method, and he told me that for first many years in my life I was studying Kent repertory and Kent materia medica, and he once told me he has read Kent materia medica almost 12 times. Can you imagine? So you have to understand, we have to start from basics and learn the whole materia medica. What are the other things? Dreams of hair, of being obliged to dress hair in company, magnesium carb. So magnesium belong in third row. Also, appearance is a very important issue for them, and not just appearance, also how they are being perceived. Dreams of hair falling out, very important rule of magnesium carb. Dreams of feeling thirsty, dreams of being soaked in rain, dreams of robbers, dreams of fighting with robbers. But here another remedy, ferrum iode. Remember, dreams of lost in a forest. This is a very important dream of magnesium carb. Dreams of money, dreams of mutilation, fishing. I had a case of cancer who used to get these dreams of fishing, who did fairly well for some time on magnesium carb. Dreams of flowers, dreams of flood, also magnesium carb. Many, very often they get dreams of children, infertility cases getting dreams of children. Dancing is a very important phenomenon for them because it is a expression. So because magnesium carb cannot express, they express through art. So you can see dreams of dancing, magnesium carb, magnesium mure, magnesium sulf. See the way we are developing the materia medica. Learn this. Dreams of danger, dreams of dead. So the main feeling in magnesium is the feeling that the person doesn't get care, protection, nourishment. It is a state of infant dependent on mother for care, love, nourishment, as if he's being abandoned. There's lots and lots of more literature. I have a little shortened time today. So I'm going to tell you some more clinical tips of how I use magnesium carb in certain other complaint. For example, magnesium carb I use a lot in polycystic ovarian disease. What is the symptom? Very often the symptom is coryza during menses. Remember this, coryza during menses. They get lot of cold and cough during menses. Another, menses at night, and menses at night more profuse at night and morning. Remember, and very important, menses pitch viscid like difficult to wash. During menses always get many dreams. Throat is sore during menses. So this is typical concomitant of menses that you will see in all cases of magnesium carb, especially in PCOD cases. Next we come to children cases. I treat a lot of children magnesium carb. One of the main thing is spasmodic cough, and almost all cases of magnesium cough will often have ascarides or worms along with cough. Many cases of neurological cases, muscular dystrophy, think about magnesium cough. Vertigo in the morning when rising, think about magnesium cough. Right-sided tinnitus, think about magnesium cough. Near specific for trigeminal neuralgia when there is pain, boring pain in the cheeks at night, very very restless, with draft of colder aggravations. Left-sided shooting pain like lightning by touch, draft of air, has to walk. Think about magnesium cough. We are using a lot in trigeminal neuralgia. Toothaches, worst toothache, whole night he has to walk. So any kind of nerve-related pain, think about magnesium cough. Very important for autism. Speech stammering. Suddenly he starts stammering. Suddenly speech aphasia, magnesium cough. Constipated or retarded stool, crumbling, all carbons, remember. Craving for meat is very important. Craving for acid, bread and butter, fruits, meat. There is always a tuberculosis family history. Meat is very important. They love meat. And pregnancy, strange craving during pregnancy. Digestion is often a very important factor in magnesium carb. So I'm going to cut short my lecture a little bit. I can talk for magnesium carb for next 5 hours, no problem. And I can tell you so many cases and so much of literature which I've collected. And you know my new Materia Medica book, which is also going to come next year. So anyways, this is my email ID, gaurang@gmail.com. So I want all the 100, 200 doctors who are watching me live right now to write to me what you learned today about magnesium carb. And you already know my two books, which are already launched, Decoding Mental Rubrics and Materia Medica Nosodes Sarcode. More than 2,000 books have been already sold. So any one of you would really like to read the book, hopefully you can write to me. But I'm most excited about tonight. Welcome to online workshop of Nosode, Sarcode and Bowel Nosode with 10 hours of non-stop learning. The Netflix of homeopathy is here. And we also have discussion with legendary homeopaths like L.M. Khan, with Nimborkar, talking about rare nosode, sarcode, how to use insulinum, pituitary gland, how to use folliculinum. You want to learn all this, join the nosode sarcode series. We also going to have a MCQ test and also certificates given towards the end. So you have to just sign in and you get 1 month access and you can watch the same series again and again, no problem. But what I want to tell you, if some of you have not joined it, we have a 25% off on last 2 days remaining. Uh, so if you are interested, you can just write to me or write to Yash, and you know my website. You have my website details. And for some of you who have joined my website, the website goes like this. You can see gaurang@gmail.com. You can see Dr. Gaurang Gaikwad. You can see this website www.drgaurang.com. And when you go here, there is on the right side, there is online courses. This is me getting an award last year from the National Institute of Homeopathy in Kolkata with Dr. Subhash Singh and Ishwar Das, getting a kind of a award of. And recently, as you know, I got Best Teacher Award. So I'm so grateful to Kolkata and Dr. Subhash Singh and the National Institute of Homeopathy, the entire Bengal, for awarding me with this national award throughout the country. So that's why I've kept it to inspire all of you. So you open here online courses. In online courses, you can see there is a section and there are different courses here. And what do I want you to do? I want you to go back to the whole schedule that you can see in online courses here. And learn on your schedule. You can see all the topics here. You have to register yourself first. So when you go to the courses, you have to first register yourself. You have to make an account, and once you make an account, you'll be given ID and password, which you can use for an entire month. And then you have the course online workshop on nosode, sarcode, bowel nosode, and you can start the lessons. And there are MCQs and there are videos and happy learning. You will have many questions. How to log in, how to log out. Don't ask me. I have no clue how to do it. You have to email yessony1995 @gmail.com. You can email him and he will answer you back very soon. Try to watch the entire series on a laptop if possible. Yeah. So that's more clearer, and see if the internet speed is good. So this is more or less. I hope you joined the series. If you have not joined, we have the last 2 days 25% off. And I hope you liked today's talk and you enjoyed interesting. And you can write to me. I want you to write to me what you learned today, and that would be it from me for now. Okay, so I think it's a good time for us to invite our friend Vaika. How are you doing, Vaika?
Yeah, hi. I'm fine, thank you. So it was very interesting for me, even if I know magnesium carbonicum quite well. So I like to be so precise and to listen someone who's teaching it so precisely. So it was a pleasure for me. And I'm excited to be here and to present some cases and some new and
So Vaika,
known
you
and
are
not known
practicing
remedies.
in Germany, in Berlin.
Yes, since
Wow, wow, wow,
1996,
wow.
I started my clinic. So yes, so it's quite a time now, and I'm teaching since more than
Wow.
18 years also. So I'm yes, and I'm like teaching, and
I was going to come this year to
yes, I'm
Berlin,
excited to be
but
here now.
unfortunately,
And
due to the COVID situation,
I know. In
yeah,
May
yeah,
you
but we
wanted to be
canceled.
there
So
in
I
May.
would have met you there
I
maybe.
remember.
I don't
Yes,
know.
yes, yes,
So tell me, Vaika, just very
yes.
because
Hopefully next
many
time.
Indian homeopaths and Brazilian homeopaths and homeopaths from France and other countries are watching. Tell me, how did you get into homeopathy? What was the thing that got you into homeopathy? First off.
It was interesting. It's a bit different than in India. So we have kind of schools. It's called
Okay.
health practitioner schools, and you can learn different things like phytotherapy and Chinese medicine. And when I started there, I didn't know anything about homeopathy. And I thought I will do Chinese medicine. I was interested in this, and I was quite sure. And then I had my first lectures in homeopathy, and I got immediately. I was 22 or 21, so and I got immediately dragged into it, and I was catched by it, and it never left me, and it was clear I will do this whole my life. But then it was quite a long way to become better
Okay,
and better
Vaika, tell me,
as it is in
tell me when you
homeopathy. We
started your
have to
practice, which was
learn.
that one case that impacted you and you decided, yes, I want to be this. I want to be this homeopath. Tell me that inspirational, that kind of eureka moment of your
Oh,
life, Vaika.
oh, this is. I think, in fact, it's what has to start with the sensation method. There were several cases, and I remember one case. It was in, I don't know, 2000 something. It was a calcium nitricum case, and this is always when I make a course. It's over 1.5 years. It's not online; it's in person here in Berlin. And this is always the case I presented in the first lecture, because it was a clue for me, and it's still a very good case for learning, because at that time calcium nitricum was not known at all, and it was only by really understanding what was the patient talking about I found the remedy, and it worked so well. It was amazing, and this was kind of starting point in a way to see, okay, I want to go on with sensation, because it has a depth which I didn't find before
So
in
interesting, so
homeopathy.
interesting. Vaika, someday I invite you
Yeah.
to India. We can do some very nice work here. You should come to
I hope so. I
someday
hope
once
it
the
would be
pandemic comes
possible.
down.
I hope
I
it
have a
would be
clinic here in
possible.
Mumbai. We see
Yeah,
many cases here. Some the Indian clinical
yeah,
practice is slightly different to the one in rest of the parts of the world. Yeah, I know,
yeah.
I
I
know.
know. I have been in India in 2000. And in 2000.
It's
And
quite
even
different
more,
now.
yes.
So when you come to India,
But it's a
please
long time
be
ago.
my guest in Mumbai when you
Yeah, I
come.
think.
And it would be great. And
Yeah.
hopefully someday I will come to
Okay.
Germany and I will meet you
Thank.
and we can do some work together. So
Yes, I also hope.
without wasting too much of your
I
time,
hope.
and there are many, many doctors waiting to hear you for the first time from India. So I'm going to just go away from the screen and let you present your topic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, welcome everybody. So, I would like to present two cases. And as I said before, these remedies are known but not so used so much, and they have quite an importance in my clinic. So, I would like you to understand them in a very depth because they can be missed out, or it could be seen as other remedies. So we start with the case, and maybe some of you have read the case before because we sent them out, but I will go step by step through the first case. It's a case of I'll share my screen now, of a child.
Vaika, sorry to interrupt you. Can you please share your screen?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can see now.
I'm
Yeah, you can start the case now. Yeah, we can see
there.
the screen.
Yeah. So, okay, it's a case of a 6-year-old child called Aaron. And he came with his father in December 2008. And as you can see, following the cases, that this child was quite talkative. He was not shy at all, so it was interesting to talk with him, even if he was quite small. But there's some peculiar behavior behaving through during the consultation. So, and I will mention it when it comes to it. So, first, the father started and he said, the reason why we come is two-parted. And maybe that's a bit a translational thing. It could be also translated as two-sided or something like that. And this was quite peculiar expression, even in German, that he said something like that. And I noticed it immediately, and we come back to this in the end. Aaron has just started school and is very dreamy during lessons. When the others have almost finished the work, he has scarcely begun. Up till now, this wasn't such a big problem because he doesn't have to finish things by a certain time. But now, having started school, things are different. In the playground and with his playmates, he's rather rough, which leads to frequent conflicts with other children, the teacher, or the nursery worker. Ever since he was very small, he's bullied other children. It only improved when he got a scuffing buddy in the nursery. But at school, it's different again. Things are changing there. And Aaron says, when I go down for a break, Louis always chases me. Louis is his friend. Then I run away, but when he catches me, he annoys me. So I get mad and then I attack him. And I ask what happens next. And then something happens which runs through the whole case. He is starting to dream out, to be absent-minded, as we see it in the case before from Gaurang. He thinks about a long time, then he says very dreamlike, oh, I can't say that exactly. So the eyes goes up. And then I ask again, attack? Tell me more about attack. And he says, first I just try and get away. If that doesn't work, I hit or push or I'll do anything. And I ask him, do you normally win or lose? And he says, I lose because there are so many of the others. There are 3 of them against me. But I will find a group and then I will have more friends than they do, and really strong ones. It's interesting. He says he loses because there are 3 of them against him, but he will find a group and then they are stronger. And this is very important. His perception is more important than what the father says, but we also need the outside view of the father, so we see how both things will match in the end. The father says Louis is one of the gang of boys from his kindergarten. They are very rough with one another. When they meet, they don't say hi. They just grab the other boy's jacket and they drag each other around like that. But Aaron hassles his 4-year-old sister too. He just hits her on the head or pushes her aside. This boys' greeting is like a competition. They want to show each other that they are the greatest. It seems to be harder for him to be in groups. He can play just fine on his own. He often goes off and plays on his own. And Aaron adds then, in the playground there is a climbing frame. They are mostly the kids who hassle me. I hide at the back somewhere. If they come, I run along the other path to where they were before. So I get far away from them and the other kids in between stop them seeing me. This is interesting. This is all his perception. And the father says if he hasn't got the chance to withdraw, he's at the mercy of the mob. So he has to do something about it, which is a difficulty. I've got the feeling that he hasn't got enough space, not enough room. If you are together with others, you have to make compromises. And Aaron says, laughing, yes, the playground is just too small for me, what is in fact not true. It's a schoolyard, so it's quite big. But his perception is it's too small for me because I can't hide that well. When they are coming towards me, I look for a better hiding place. If they are not coming towards me, it's not so dangerous. The father says, he contradicts a bit, he says, my perception, though, is that he's responsible himself during these conflicts. When children come towards him and say in a nice and friendly tone, hello, Aaron, he just pushes them even though they haven't done anything to him. I do that a lot with Luis because, and then he loses thread again. So he starts being absent-minded, dreamlike. I can't describe it really. So, and it needs really a longer time. I don't take this time now, but in the video you could see it. It takes a longer time for him to come back and to make his point. I feel it inside when Luis attacks me. I do that, he means pushing, so he goes further away from me and I can run away. When he attacks me first, I easily get aggressive. And the father says it's true that he easily gets angry. He gets worked up about minor things with us and his sister. Then he says everything is wrong, everything is shit, bad, and the whole world is against him. It boils up quickly without announcement, and it makes him difficult to deal with sometimes. Things can be going very nicely and everyone is happy, and then suddenly, bam, things explode. In the morning, it's guesswork how the day will turn out. He gets bad-tempered extremely quick. For example, when we carefully wake him up by stroking him, we have to watch out we don't get a fist or a foot in our face. It's a sudden turn for the worse. So this is very interesting that he's quite aggressive, quite bad-tempered in a way, and his perception is a different one. But how it turns out, I think this is also true. So we have these two sides, and we have to see how they go together, how they meet in one remedy. He starts painting at its own request, and the father talks about what he likes most playing. And we make a little bit more, and then we go to a PowerPoint to make a summary what we have until here. The father says he plays a great deal with animals. He knows an incredible amount about animals, but when we play together and I let my animal walk in another direction than he imagined, the whole game can go up in smoke. Then he screams, I'm never playing with you again, and it's always so disproportionate. Or he starts bashing around, either bashing his sister or us. And I ask, what does he mainly do physically? And he says, hitting out, biting, or pinching too. So now we put on PowerPoint what we have until now. So first we take all what the father said about him, and then we see what Aaron says about himself or about the situations. The father says the reason why we come is two-parted. He's rowdy and dreamy. He's bullying other children and his sister. He's pushing, hitting, pulling on jacket. The greeting between the boys is like a competition. They want to show each other that they are the greatest. He pushes other children without them doing anything to him. So you see, the aggression comes from his side. It's hard for him to be in groups. This is an observation the father made. He can play just fine on his own. In groups, he's at the mercy of the mob if there's no chance to withdraw. It's difficult if there's not enough space. And the third thing is he gets angry easily. It boils up quickly without announcement. It explodes suddenly. He generalizes everything. Everything is bad, wrong, the world is against me, and so on. He has an extremely bad mood in the morning. You get the fist in the face when he wakes up when we wake him up tenderly. And he's biting, pinching, hitting, and knocking around. So this is the father side, and this is objectively true. So we have these objective facts, but what's more interesting is Aaron's perception. Okay, he says also it's always disproportionate. Okay. Aaron says, Louis always chases me. When he catches me, he annoys me. I try to get away. If I'm not successful, then I attack him. I lose because there are so many of the others. I'll find a group and then I'll have more friends than they do and really strong ones. I try to hide from the children who hassle me. The schoolyard is too small for me in the sense of hiding. If they are not coming towards me, it's not so dangerous. I have the feeling that Louis is attacking me, pushing, and then I'm pushing so that I can run away. When he attacks me first, then I become easily aggressive. And this is interesting. So his perception is, in a way, I'm a victim. They try to hassle me, they attack me, I try to run away, I try to hide. I only become aggressive when they attack me first. The schoolyard is too small. If they don't come towards me, it's not so dangerous. So it's more like a defensive kind of behavior we are seeing here. So this is an interesting point. So, but we go on with the case and see what's more about him to understand. So we started with his playing interests. And what we heard is he knows a lot about animals and he plays a lot with animals. And Aaron says immediately, I like the predators most of all. The coolest for me is a tiger because they can spring so far. And I asked, what else do you like? And then immediately, and this is interesting because it's his interest, these are his things. It's not something stupid or boring for him to talk about, but he loses thread and he goes away and he's absent-minded and says, oh, I don't know. I play, for example, I really can't describe it. And then he makes her head like this and he's laughing and so on. And there's my comment, I already said it, he can express very good for a 6-year-old one, but it seems like he really loses, he cannot make access to the information to make his point. It's really like he cannot grab it in this moment. So the father describes a typical scenario, how the plays goes on. And he says the typical scenario is a plant eater that they all jump on. A deer, a cow, or a horse is lying there with about 20 predators sitting around. I'm looking at him and saying, what they are doing? And he says, they are eating it. They are tigers, lions, leopards, cheetahs, and crocodiles. For a long time, he was fascinated by cheetahs with their speed and the way they catch their prey. That the fast antelopes were really too slow for him. We also have animal films on video where lions attack water buffaloes and the water buffaloes fight back and forth. He finds something like that really exciting. And then he adds, Daddy, I have seen an animal film before where an antelope buck took a cheetah wiping its horns and then he threw the cheetah away. This is interesting. So we have to understand this in a very deep way, because it's not only about animals, it's about a kind of dynamic between animals. It's not about fighting animals. So, and this dynamic leads us to the remedy. So we go there again and see it in a bit deeper way. And his other main interest is the knights of old. He's got a whole arsenal of wooden weapons. And Aaron is very excited when we come to this point and says, that's in fact my real game, knights. My bunk bed at the top is my castle, and in the evening we have to clear it all up because the weapons are lying around. In the castle I'm preparing for a fight. He usually plays that with friends, and then there are 5 to 6 kids, all heavily armed, running around the apartment. Funnily enough, that's when there's the least argument. When they are all armed to the teeth, it's not at all aggressive. Yep, because everyone's got the cool weapons, Aaron says. And here is an interesting point also in the anamnesis is when you talk with children about their games, what they play, you have to be precisely, and they love to talk about it, they love it. And what is good, I mostly don't know also about all these modern computers games. I don't know anything about them. So I'm really curious because I don't understand what's about. And you have to ask very precisely, who are you in this game, or with whom you are identified, or who you want to be, or who's interesting you the most, and what this figure is doing, or also in films or books. It's very, very important to go in detail, because then you can really understand more of the inner world of a child. So I ask, what are you then when you play knights? And he says, as a knight, I'm a fighter. Sometimes I'm also the guard, which is totally cool. He holds a spear in front of the door so that no one can get in. Usually it's 2 holding crossed spears, and if someone tries to enter, they defend the castle with their swords. And the father says, I would call that minimal equipment. Usually Aaron has a crossbow at the back of his jumper, a sword at the side, a knife there, and a halberd there, and a shield here. So, yes, so he is heavily armed. And while Aaron draws the picture, he explains to his father what can be seen on it. Okay, we go first to the PowerPoint only to yeah. Okay. As we heard, he likes animals, especially predators. He plays a herbivore, a plant eater, surrounded by 20 predators, and he likes videos where lions attack water buffaloes and they defend himself, or an antelope buck is taking a cheetah between its horns. And this comes in the end, but I added it here because it makes sense at this point. I always ask in the end if there's a fairy coming, or if you have a free wish, what is your wish? And he said, I wish more cuddly toys. And I was curious and I asked which one, and he said, a mouse, a horse, a giraffe, a hedgehog, and a rabbit. And this was not the answer I expected. And this is a very interesting answer, that he wished a mouse, a horse, a giraffe, a hedgehog, and a rabbit. So, and another interest is knights. He has a whole arsenal of weapons, and the bunk bed is the castle. And 5 children running through the flat, heavily armed. There is no quarreling. It's not aggressive at all. And as knight, he is a fighter or a guard, and hold his spear in front of the door so that nobody can come in. And if someone wants to enter, we defend the castle with the swords. Okay, now we are going back, and we see what he's drawing, and I will show some drawings because they are really interesting. I never see someone drawing like that. So I will show later, but he's explaining. Here, these here are all alarms. One lights up red, this here one is yellow, and the other one is striped at the bottom. They are protecting this house here. This is because people are constantly trying to break in. And here someone is actually breaking in, which you can see from the light on the alarm. The intruders want to take things. They are thieves. And I ask him, what do they want to take away? All my gold. And what happens when the alarm system goes off? Well, then I'll come, or rather my team. They will defend, and he loses again his speech. I can't describe it very well now, but then he comes back. It's a really special team. They have got loads of defensive stuff, but I can't tell you what. It's actually a secret. But then he says, but I will say it anyway. They have a lot of carnivores. And I look at him and say, what they do? And it's really good. You have to go with the child into his world or into its world. You have really to, not to pretend to be curious. You have to be curious. And I play with the children. I say, oh, what do they do? Or, oh, wow, that's interesting. Can you describe it? And if you are like that, the children open up very easily. So you have to become a child in a way. You have to be curious like them. So then he starts space out again, but then his answers, they chase the burglars into my traps. I have got traps for them. And I asked the grades, and you will see that there are a lot of grades like that. They are for the burglars. They are actually jails. And during later consultation, Aaron brings a few more pictures, all with similar themes, alarms and large structures with grates or grids, as well as bombs and laser cannons. So now I show you some of them. So the drawings we heard, there's a tiny house with many alarm systems. The burglars want to take all the gold. I come with my team, we defend ourselves. The predators bite them and chase them into my traps, and I have prisons or jails for burglars. So here, I put the laser pointer on. Here you see, this is the house. You see, it's the tiny house, and this is all the alarm system. You see, and you have to understand why a child needs such an alarm protection. What is the feeling behind this? When you need this, there must be something uncertain or insecure. So the house is like that. This is all the alarms, and here you have these grates, which are traps and prisons for the burglars. On this picture you see, I don't know if you can see, there's a figure, and this is all laser cannons, laser lights. So, and here's some more typical pictures of him. Here you see again a small house and all the traps and prisons around, all the grates and jails around it. And here's also stuff like that. And this is also interesting. It's a fence, as you see, with a barbed wire. So again, we see there's something which needs to be protected very strongly, because there's some, this is what we're going to understand, some kind of insecurity. Okay. And so now we come to dreams. I asked about dreams, and he says, I have often a stupid dream that a tiger attacked me. It got me, and I tried to get away again. And he has also another dream. It comes in a PowerPoint, but it's not mentioned here because it's a bit short in this case. That he and his friends are playing with the weapons. Okay, fears. The father says recently he asked about lots of noises, even though he knows that we made them. For example, he asked, do you know that the TV or the washing machine is on now? He asks that fearfully. He wants us to tell him that everything is okay, that has got stronger recently. It was always there in a latent way, but since starting school, it has gotten even worse. At the moment, we can't go out in the evening either, for example, with a baby monitor to the neighbors in the next house, which was worked well before. Then I ask him, when the parents leave or there are strange noises in the flat, what are you afraid of? What could be there? He thinks again for a very long time, and then he says, all kinds of things. Someone could come and steal something. Then I ask, what could they steal? Anything at all. Some could come and steal stuff, maybe toys or money or food, or lightning might strike and things start burning. So I haven't seen the mother. He came only with his father, and the father told me a bit about the pregnancy. When the mother was pregnant with him, she had a severe nausea beyond the first 3 months. She also completely lost her voice for a long period and had a permanently dry cough, almost causing her to vomit. And 6 weeks after he was born, Aaron had eczema. He could not sleep at night and scratched himself bloody, whimpering in his sleep. Since homeopathic treatment at that time had no effect, he was given cortisone creams, with which the eczema disappeared within a year. Approximately every 2 months, a new spot on the back of the knee or the hand appeared, which the parents treated with the mild cortisone cream. And then there's something also what I often do, or mostly always do in children's cases. I ask the parents, where does the name come from, or if there's a story behind this choosing the name for the child. And in his case, it was quite interesting what he explained or what he said. He said, we both come from a religious background, so we wanted a biblical name for him. The name just appealed to us. Aaron was the brother of Moses. Moses always said what had to be done, and Aaron did it. But then we asked whether we really want our child to be a yes man. But then he also got the second name Gideon. Gideon was a soldier whose 300 fighters broke the siege of Israel by 3,000 enemies. So he was a tough guy who massacred them all. So I would say Nomen est Omen. So we can see this in the child, can't we? And then I asked this, what I said, the witch of a fairy, and he said these more cuddly toys, mouse, horse, giraffe, hedgehog, and rabbit. So we go. No. Okay, so I was a bit superficial in the beginning, and Aaron was given 2 different remedies. I don't say which ones now, but I will say it later. But these did not improve his main complaints, these outbursts and difficulty in concentrating, but only the fear of noises in the house disappeared. I think with the first or the second one, I don't know, I don't remember. So, and in this case, I felt, okay, I have to see the mother. I have really to see her, to ask her, especially about the pregnancy again, and also how she is seeing the child, because as we know, parents have a different view on their children, so it's good to have both, or if the case is not working, you need sometimes the other view. And this was quite interesting because it was the clue for the, on the case for me. So it was 3 months after starting the treatment, these other remedies which were not successful. And I asked, she told me, Aaron needs a lot of time to adapt to new situations. With strangers, he's rather quiet and anxious. He takes a while to open up and is very cautious in making contact. He very much wanted to learn judo or karate, and we stood in front of the sports hall 2 or 3 times, but he couldn't bring himself to go inside. He did want to, but he was afraid because he didn't know what to expect. I know that for myself as a child, if more than 3 or 4 people I didn't know were present in a room, I would feel anxious. It was uncertainty and the fear of doing something wrong. Also fear that the people I didn't know would react to me in a strange way and not knowing what to expect. I was always afraid I might react in the wrong way and be ridiculed or not know something when asked. That's exactly the same with Aaron. If, for example, he practices reading, he just whispers the words. He doesn't trust himself to speak the words out loud for fear of being wrong. Otherwise, he's a cautious child. He'd rather leave things than take on too much risk. This is interesting because it shows a very different side. We haven't seen so much, or we haven't heard about when the father was talking, that he's quite unsure. He has fear of making mistakes, of being wrong. He whispers the word while reading because he is not sure if he's right or not. So, and it's also interesting, and there's something I would like to add, that the mother says, I know it from my childhood, an observation I have made in many, many cases. It's not a rule, or it's not something we can always count on, but I have seen it so often that one parent often needs the same remedy as the child needs. And it's in her case, it's like that because she came later as a patient and she has exactly the same, she needs exactly the same remedy. And I was thinking that already when she talked about, she knows it from her childhood, and she was a bit the same, and she was also very similar looking because they have a special kind of face, both of them. And there was something more what was making me thinking that she could need the same remedy. This is what she told about pregnancy. During the pregnancy, I had considerable financial anxiety and uncertainty. Up till then, I'd always worked and earned my own money. After the birth, I was entitled to get €300 child allowance. My world collapsed and I already saw myself applying for social welfare and going shopping at the social department stores. I had the feeling I would starve because I wouldn't get any money. My husband was unemployed before and then became self-employed. There was no buffer which we could draw on. So, okay. Nice. Okay, we had the dreams, we had the fears, noises, and this is interesting again. Someone might steal something, food, money, or toys, and we saw this an anxiety of starving, not having enough money in the pregnancy. So we see similarities here. This is about the name, and this is interesting. This is this Gideon after the battle, and he massacred all these 3,000 enemies with 300 of his men. Okay, pregnancy, we heard nausea began the first 3 months, dry cough almost causing her to vomit, financial anxiety and uncertainty, feeling as if I must starve. And she says he needs a lot of time to adapt to new situations. He needs to be he's quiet and anxious with strangers. He has fear of doing something wrong. He's cautious, careful, fearful, don't trust things. And physical symptoms: his eczema as an infant suppressed with cortisone, concentration difficulties, dreamy, dawdling, very slow with mental effort, reading, writing, school tasks, answers. So, what are we doing with this now? And now comes an interesting part. We have to decide first, or this is what I do. It's not possible in every case, but here it was important to look which kingdom has remedy to come from. So which kingdom he needs, and this is always a big discussion when I present this case in classes, because there's often a discussion, yeah, where are we? And the suggestion which comes mostly first is we are in the animal kingdom, and there are some things speaking for that. He has a strong reference to animals. He's playing a lot with them. He's very interested. He knows a lot about animals, and he plays a herbivore surrounded by 20 predators. He likes these videos like the lions attack water buffaloes and so on. And there's a kind of attacker and victim thing, especially when he reports on the other children who annoy and attack him. But, oh no, there comes a huge but. Are we really in the animal kingdom? And here comes his perception in the foreground. And his perception speaks more a mineral language, because it goes about his ability to protect or defend himself, to be defensive or to be able to attack others. It's more about, am I weak? Am I strong? Can I hide? Am I strong enough? Can I defend myself? Do I have more people on my side? Am I alone? Do I have the stronger ones? This is all about the case goes. And also his pictures, speaking in a mineral language, the drawings with these grades and grids, but it's more on a depth. It's really, what is it about? It's about, do I have enough power, structure, strength? And also the burglars who are taking gold, money, toys, and food are about, there's someone coming and taking a structure from me. And genau. And fear of doing something wrong is also a mineral theme. Fear of failure and so on. And when we look at the mineral kingdom, we have a structure issue. So it means it's about structure building up. Do I have enough? About structure breakage, about loss of structure, and so on. And it's about completeness or uncompleteness of self. Do I need something from others, or others take something from me? And it could be anything. It could refer to security, money, relationship, identity, position, safety. It doesn't matter. It matters in the relation to the row of the periodic table, but in the mineral kingdom it could be everything. But it has to do with, I don't have enough, I don't get it, I need it from others, they come and take it. Am I strong? Am I able to ... So this is what's all about in the mineral kingdom. And it's about appearance and performance, and about attack and defense, and this is especially in the metals. So we are in the mineral kingdom. I hope you are all agree, even if it looks very much animal-like, and this is really a trap here in this case, and we have to be very precise. We have really to understand what is the perception inside, not what's the case on the outside. And on the outside it's a lot about animals and so on, but inside it's more the issue with structure. So next question is, which row? In which row are we? And I don't know how familiar you are with the periodic table. I can't go through everything, but I think you can get maybe an insight here. All what we hear here is about security and safety. We have these financial fears in pregnancy, we have fear of starvation, we have the burglars taking gold, money, toys, and food, and we have a lot of alarm systems and jails. So, is it secure? Is it safe? Have I enough or not? And it's about attack and defense. We see these knights, weapons, predators, defend the castle, defending himself, other children, and all this is row 4. So we are in row 4 of the periodic table, and here I have periodic table. If you are, I think, a bit familiar with it, we have magnesium, Gaurang told about, it's in the row 3, and then we have row 4, and you see there are quite some remedies. So we have to decide which one, and this is going like that we have to understand which column we are. So the columns are this kind of vertical structures in the periodic table. And I start in the middle, in the tens column, because the tens column is something where we can have an orientation, because it's different from on the right side, on the right side or on the left side of the tens column, because in the tens column, column 10 is a complete structure. The structure feels complete. It doesn't mean that they are healthy. This is, you don't have to make this mistake. They are not healthy at all. They have another song also, but they don't feel like I need something or I lose something. They feel complete in themselves. So one is successful in its abilities, and this is nickelum, palladium, platinum. And on the left side, where also magnesium is one of the remedies, the structure is still incomplete. So this means I need something to complete my structure. I need others, I need food, I need protection, I need to develop my abilities, I need to construct. So it's about development, construction. On the right side, the structure is losing, it begins to dissolve. There's a deconstruction, destruction, others coming and take things from me, so I will lose things and I have to keep what I have. And so we have arsenicum, I think most of you will know this very well, so which has a feeling that thieves come into the house taking things. So when we look at row 4, we have in column 10, we have nickelum. As I said, they are successful in their ability, and if it's all about protection and defending in row 4, so nickelum feels successful in its ability to protect and defend themselves, and not only themselves, also others. So they stand up for others, they fight for others as policemen, as lawyer, whatever. So they could be quite tough and also quite quarrelsome. And they like contradiction, but they don't like others to contradict. You know, they're bossy, quarrelsome, rebellious against authorities. They have a high self-esteem, they have a pride. This we don't see in him. He's not that successful like in nickelum. He is more, there's more something else, what we have already seen. So it's not nickelum, but it's not so far. And my mistake was, I thought he's on the right side, so I gave him first 2 remedies. One was cuprum and one was zincum. And cuprum is column 11 of row 4. And if you go to the right side, and it's only one step from column 10, the structure is still almost perfect. It means cuprum feels I have to maintain these high standards of performance and safety and defense. So I have to maintain it, so they have to keep control in a way. And this is also where the cramping comes from in cuprum, because they have to make like this. There's a feeling of being attacked suddenly and repeatedly, and they have always to be ready to defend. So there's a feeling it could suddenly come. And they defend themselves at the slightest provocation. Yeah, and this is what I said, they retain control, and cramping is a strong part of it. And this is what I thought he's doing, because I felt he defends himself at the slightest provocation, and he's always ready to defend, because he's always has the feeling to be attacked and so on. This was the one reason to give a cuprum to him, but it wasn't working. And then my next thought was also a bit superficial. Column 12, zincum. The structure is slowly losing its ability to protect and perform. So there's a constant effort to keep it. They must be on guard all the time. They have a feeling of being permanently attacked. The nervous system is constantly alert, and a very well-known thing with syncom is mental symptoms after suppressing of skin rash. So I thought, okay, he needs syncom because he had this mental absent-mindedness and he has a suppression of eczema. But it also didn't work. So then, as I said, I saw his mother for a consultation, and then finally I understood that he is on the left side of our periodic table, of our 10th row, 10th column. So I looked at column 9, and column 9 is, the structure is almost complete. And the interesting word is almost, nearly. There's an uncertainty and a fear of making mistakes. They have so much to lose just before reaching the goal, the 10th column. It means they are really very close to the goal. They're nearly there, but if they make a mistake, they fall down. They lose everything. They are not completely sure about their abilities. The proverbial last dot in the E is missing. The I is missing. And in row 4, we have the remedy cobaltum. And in cobaltum, it means they are already well able to defend themselves, but last doubts remain. So we see there is a kind of defensiveness. He's not weak at all. He's quite tough. He's rough. He can defend himself, but inside is a feeling of doubt. And this is what we heard all the time. Will the defense stand firm? If it's already strong enough, that's the question. At the same time, there's a strength and a defensive resilience because they are close to the 10th stage, but there is a feeling of being punished when they make a mistake. And the rubric is delusion, he is a criminal, and everybody knows it. So we look a bit closer to cobaltum, and Sankaran says, and this is interesting, a feeling of other people getting into their territory and the need to keep them out. They have a strong and unbending will, but there is a lack of self-confidence. They must be perfect. And there is a pressure to represent something they do not yet embody. And this is interesting. They do not yet embody. They're closely, but not yet fully. Feeling of being stupid and worthless, a feeling of guilt and self-reproach. They doesn't want to be in the focus of attention, dislike of being observed. This is what the mother told us about. He doesn't want new situations with new people. Fear that others might notice his weakness. And a rubric or a symptom from the proving from Alan is condemned, mean feeling as though guilty of some deed of which others knew, as if he could not look one in the face. But, now there's a huge but, he didn't get cobaltum metallicum. Because what else is there? There is something else, some other aspects. And the other aspects are difficulties in groups, is what the father says. As if not having enough room, the schoolyard is too small. And there are sudden explosive outbreaks. And this leads us to nitricum. So the remedy he got was cobaltum nitricum. And then I found something very interesting in Franz Vermeulen's Materia Medica. Agitation and hyperactivity followed by mental haziness and listlessness plus poor concentration. And this is what we exactly see in his case. An inability to think and finds it hard to focus thoughts. Negative moods in the morning. Worse morning, worse after sleep. Anxiety at night, like paralyzed, cannot call out or move. We haven't seen that so strongly, and also the next is not in his case, but it's interesting. We need the complete picture. Fear of heights, dreams of falling, fear in caves and mines, kind of claustrophobia. Delusion, everything will fail. Delusion, distances extended. And this is also interesting because I have seen this in several cases. Craving for fried potatoes. The mother had it. She had a very severe kind of stomach, um, yeah, ulceration, and she had, if it started to pain, she had to eat immediately. If she lost the point, then it got really worse. So, and the best thing was something warm, and especially fried potatoes. If she ate fried potatoes, everything was okay. And I have seen it in another child who had went good on cobaltum natricum. He had also craving for fried potatoes. So I think it's a quite good thing. I don't know how it's in other countries with this, but it's a quite common German thing to eat this. So now we go to the follow-up, and the first thing I wanted to share is his drawings changed completely, and this was so amazing in a way, because I have never seen a case like that where the drawing were so specific and peculiar, and then we have a change also in that subject in such a strong way. So he came after the remedy for the first consultation after cobaltum nitricum. He came with this picture, with this drawing, and is, you see, there's a ladybug, another one, there's a meadow grass, there's some sky, and so on. And I show you other drawings which they brought in other consultations. And you see, it's incredible. It's incredible. It seems like it's from another child, but I promise you it's from him. So, and it's interesting, he's drawing a lot of animals still. So, but the animal scene is still in his, I don't know, in his area, in his space, but it's totally in a totally different way. So he's also very precise. So this is called puma and white-tailed deer. It's not only a deer, it's a white-tailed deer. So I find this amazing. He's really 6 years old. It's incredible. So you see there's a lot of animals. Here we have some vultures. Here we have a farm with a cock and some little cats, kittens playing. And here we have a farm, not a farm, a village scene or a city scene. Lots of trees and cars and so on. So it's a totally different inner world. And this is maybe interesting or important to understand. Children are always draw their inner world. They can't do different. They draw what's inside. And what we saw before is there was a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear, a lot of feeling, I'm not protected, I need a huge alarm, and now he's free. These kind of drawings, these kind of pictures representing a free soul. There is no kind of issue behind. So it's a very free-flowing. So we go a little bit in the follow-up. Yeah, I have not made a long story about the follow-ups now, but I can tell you a little bit. Okay, the brokers are seen in these drawings. I told about it, but what the father said after the first dose is, when there's an argument, it has a completely different quality. Aaron is not so aggressive and he argues much less vehemently. He also doesn't suddenly get enraged. You can see that things are gradually building up, so you can react in time. His morning mood is also not so dire. He's rather just tired. And he said, I'm feeling good. I haven't been fighting so much at school. It just happened. Instead, I play with my friends or we talk. Louis doesn't bother me so much either. And this change with the first dose. It was a C200, and it remained like that. It remained, and the father said in one consultation, there is a huge relief in the school, in the teachers, nurseries, and all the parents, which were always affected by this quarreling between the boys. So there is a huge relief because we relaxed so much. What stayed for a longer period and what was more a problem was his concentration problem. It went up and down. And sometimes he met the demands in school and he made only little mistakes. In other periods, he had a poor concentration and had trouble to keep up. And 18 months after treatment, this was really good, he got Q potencies. I put him on Q. And the eczema returned. He had a Q9 at this time. The eczema returned with large areas of itchy rashes behind the knees and on the back of the legs, so where it started or where he had it when he was small. And it healed within 3 weeks. He took his Q potency, and I put additional treatment with C30 externally. So I do it, I put, they should dissolve 330 in water, and then they can put it outside, and this is normally a relief. And then the concentration improved too very quickly and very suddenly. My mother said his concentration is better, he doesn't get distracted so easily, and also he gets things done more rapidly. Okay, this is the case. And a second, I go back. Do we have more time for this?
Vaika, I think participants normally our session is up to 10 p.m. So many of the participants have scheduled their thing as per that particular time slot. So if you want, you can take some questions now from the participants.
Okay.
That will be good. Yeah.
Okay. I only want to say something.
Sure, you can.
I have sent a second case, and I would like to make a PDF from the PowerPoint and send it to you, so you can send it to people, because it's also a cobaltum case, so everybody can.
Sure, you can. Yeah, you can send it to me, and I'll share it with all the participants.
But there's something also interesting. It's a cobaltum muriaticum case, and if you look at cobaltum muriaticum, you hardly find anything. But you will understand, going really step by step as we did it, and through the PowerPoint, you will understand why it worked as cobaltum muriaticum. And what we can see in this case, there's one thing I would like to show about it. Only a short thing.
You will have to click on share screen.
Yeah. I see. I understand. I remember. This was a young man who was working in film industry as a cameraman, and what he said, and this was really so exact the cobaltum feeling, and this is why I want to share it, is that he said, there's a pressure, I'm ambitious, I'm good, there's a pressure, you have to achieve certain things, but if you fail, you are out of the picture. And this is the exact feeling of cobaltum, and this is or the feeling of column 9 is one failure, one mistake, and I'm out of the picture. And this is really good to understand, and you will never miss column 9, and hopefully also never miss cobaltum. And you will see also how the muriaticum aspects in when you read the case and read the PowerPoint. So now I come back. Okay, so there's some room for questions, I guess, and I don't know, they will be here in the chat, I think.
So participants, if you have any questions regarding the case which Vaika shared earlier, you can ask those questions, and she will try to answer them. Okay, so there is one question from one participant that
Mhm.
why not nickelum instead of cobaltum
Okay.
in the case?
Yeah, it's interesting, and this is what I already explained a bit. He is more insecure than Nicolum. Nicolum is really secure about his defensive abilities. He's so able to defend himself that he also can defend others. But this child, Aaron, he's much more insecure. So he has this guilt feeling, this feeling of making a mistake while reading. He whispers while reading. He feels like I have to hide. Am I strong enough? Have I enough persons around me? Is my team tough enough or not? So he's more on an insecurity level than Nicolum. Nicolum never has this doubt about his abilities. It's more like I'm tough. I can defend myself. I can defend others. So I saw a case, it's not mine, but a colleague's case, and there was a man, it was a Nicolum case, who was always, when someone was teased in the public, he went there and he fight for this person. So he was quite quarrelsome, quite tough. He was not afraid at all. And Aaron is more on the side of, okay, well, am I not so? And this is the doubt which has come online. But he's close to 10, so he is strong, of course. But there is this doubt is the important clue for this case. I don't hear you. I don't hear you.
Hello, yeah, sorry, my mic was on mute. So one participant is asking that how do you normally differentiate in the kingdom, because in this particular case there was also like a hint of animal kingdom. It was looking like animal kingdom. So how do you differentiate that?
Yeah, it was. It is what I said. It was a hint of animal kingdom, of course, and this is on a superficial level, on a superficial view. It seems like to be animal kingdom because it's such a strong theme running through the case. But on the depths, we see more. There's a structural problem. There is more a question of am I strong enough? Am I able to defend? Who is coming and breaking in and taking things? Am I financially good, like the mother had in pregnancy? So there's more a question of ability, and this is on a deeper level running through the case. And so we have not to look on the surface, and this is why the case is so good for learning, because you can really differentiate and be precise about kingdoms here, and this is not that easy. And there are some other things, of course. These kind of drawings is the mineral language, and also these knights of old, what he's playing. But this is not enough. You have to understand it why it's a kingdom case, and this is about his abilities in defense and attack and strength and so on. Your mic, your mic.
How do you understand the difference between ferrum? Like how will you compare it to ferrum?
Yeah, this is good. It was I missed out Ferrum because I felt it's already too long, but it's good a good question. Ferrum, and this is something specific also. Ferrum is in the column 8. So that means there are two columns missing until 10. So two columns missing until the full feeling I have all the ability to defend. It means Ferrum is often seems more stronger than Cobaltum because they have to overcome a gap of 2 columns. So they have to, I always say, they have to muscle themselves on. So in the sense of they have to pretend to be strong. They have to make more kind of noise about it in a way. So they often seem more tough than cobaltum, because in cobaltum the doubt is much more prominent, because if cobaltum makes a mistake, they fall really down because they're nearly to column 10. But ferrum is more tough, and they have more also these others want to break in my borders, and I have to set borders very strongly. I have to keep them. So they seem more tough, and this is interesting. And they have some slightly also other physical symptoms, but it's interesting that that column 8 often seems stronger than column 9. It's also in row 5. I've seen in rhodium, it's column 9, and what's the name of the other one? A second. One second, I forgot the name of ruthenium. Okay, rhodium and ruthenium. And ruthenium is quite tough. They are quite. I have a case of ruthenium, and it's a man. He's how to say? He's a building manager. So, and he's quite strong, quite tough. And rhodium is much more doubting its abilities in performance than ruthenium, for example.
Okay. Okay. Do you also use repertorization as a tool in your cases?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This is a case I didn't use because for me, it's understanding comes first. There are also cases I don't understand, and I go through the repertory and I need it. But for me, I try to understand what is it about, as I showed in this case, and then if I have no clue, I take some peculiar rubrics which are on the depth of my understanding, and I look at them and I look which remedies are in there, and then I look these remedies and see if they fit. If I would have time, I could represent some cases where I did it in this way. So I use repertory, of course, but it's not the first tool. It's more like it comes second in a way. It's more analyzation first.
Okay, so I think that's all from the participants also. More or less all of their queries has been answered by you, and we have received very good feedback from the participants that they had a great learning with the cases which you shared, and especially about the idea you shared about the mineral kingdom and the rows and columns. It was great learning for them, and as you said that you will be sharing some notes for the participants, so
Yes.
you can email it to me, and we'll send it to the participants.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Maika, if you can also share your email ID in case participants, if they have any query, they can write to you personally also.
Shall I do it, or I do it at the end of the case? I will put it on my, or shall I do it now?
If you can do it now also, that will be better.
Yeah. Wait a second. So my website is Healing through Homeopathy, but it's in German, it's Heilung durch Homöopathie. .com, and it's info at Heilung. Or simply bk5@gmx.de. So all these addresses are working,
Okay.
and
Yeah, so you can contact Vaika on all these addresses. If you have any queries in specific, you can write to her.
oh, here's a mistake. 1 second. So,
Okay.com. Okay. Okay. Okay.
okay. So I will
Okay.
send it also with all these PowerPoints. I will edit so everybody can get
Okay.
it.
We'll share it with the class. So thank you. Thanks a lot, Vaika, for joining us today. And it was a great learning. And we hope that in future also we will have you again in one of the sessions where you can share some more learning with the
Yeah,
participants.
yeah, it would be a pleasure for me. So thank you, and greetings
Thank
to Gaurang, and have a
Sure.
nice evening in Mumbai.
Yeah. Hope to see you soon someday in India and in Mumbai.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it would be great.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Thanks a lot for
okay,
joining. Bye
bye
bye. Yeah.
bye. Bye.
Okay. So I hope you had a great learning today from the two interesting speakers with the interesting remedies to learn from the mineral kingdom. And I hope you already have these books by Dr. Gaurang. One is the Decoding of Mental Rubrics. It's about the mind rubrics. Particularly many of the students or even practitioners or the beginners, they have this main problem, why how to convert patient's language into rubrics. So in our cases we normally find this thing very difficult. Whenever patient says some symptoms, we don't know how to convert them into the rubrics, especially the mind symptoms. So this book, I think it's a gem kind of a book for all the people out there. So you can get this book. And the second book is on Nosodes and Sarcodes. So it's kind of a different approach in cases where you're not getting results, where you get stuck in some of your cases. You can try giving Nosodes, Sarcodes, or bowel Nosodes. So both these books are available with us. You can write to me on dr.pratikjain at gmail.com or thehomoeopathichub at gmail.com, or you can even message me on WhatsApp and I'll help you with the books. And soon we are coming up with the third book by Dr. Gaurang, that is on the repertory, art of repertorization, where he has explained about 8 different repertories: Kent repertory, Fatak, Bonninghausen, Nair, and etc., Bogers, and so on. So all these different repertories are explained with the help of cases, like lots of cases are there in this book. So I think it will be a gem kind of book. So mostly it will be launched next month. So stay tuned for that. You can write to me for the book. We'll help you with the books as soon as it is available. So I think that's all from our side today. Thank you once again for joining us today, and see you all in the next session of MM series. Till then, take care. Bye bye.